Scripture is clear not to place our children under the counsel of the ungodly. And it's clear that the student will become like the teacher. And even though there are good teachers in the public school systems, the overall system, what it's meant to produce, the student that it's meant to produce, is what you have to be careful of. And I feel blessed because I'm a goober, but yet the Lord has blessed us with being able to homeschool and seeing the outcome. My kids are so much better than me. And man, you just can't convince me that there's a better way. Yeah, Master Books is a skill-based series more than it is a grade-based series. So the grades are recommendations or starting points, but then we encourage parents to adapt it to the skills of their students. Everybody, happy Tuesday. Welcome to MBTV. I need the TV on my MB logo.
We can add it to your cow picture.
There we go.
Facebook's live now. Hello, Facebook.
Facebook is goofy now. All right, so we got some questions and answers. I hope everybody had a good Memorial Day weekend. In Arkansas, it's just been a lot of rain.
We had a little bit of sun. We got a little bit of sun this weekend, but
a lot of rain. Yeah. So, but it was a good time. So we're happy to be here and answer some questions. If you have questions, you're welcome to ask them here as well. And we're just gonna go. Ready, set, go.
awesome. Joanne asks, any plans for a metric supplement, math lessons for living education, or even better, an Australian or international version with international currency options and metric measurements?
Right now, no. Not that we wouldn't in the future, but right now, as far as math lessons for living education, we took that series probably 2-3 years ago, maybe 4 now. Upgraded the entire series from what it was, black and white type math program, made it math lessons. We've done a number of revisions to it. Then we did the teaching companion. Then we created the math practice makes perfect packs. Angela's in the process of writing those. And so she's done writing 1 and 2. We're in the process of finishing up 1 and working on Practice Makes Perfect 2. So Angela's got that, and then she's also doing courses at masterbooksacademy.com for the math and the American story. So she's kind of busy right now, and it may just be a bit before something like that can happen. I know she's a little stressed. I just,
I mean, what would be a little bit more?
Yeah, you're a homeschool mom, Angela. You can do this. Homeschool moms do this in their sleep. Yeah.
Sheesh.
Come on. Okay.
Also, hey, everybody jumping on both the live stream and the app. Tabby said, yay, I finally caught one. We're so glad you're here. All right, next question. Jen said, I won't be able to get on the live stream at 3, but could you please tell me if there would be any difference besides the covers of Passport to World Geography package for the 4th grade. We bought ours a few weeks ago to prepare for next semester, but realized the books look differently now. We wouldn't want to be missing out on any editions. We've noticed the updated version is being released in July.
I think you're a little confused. The edition you bought, which would be Elementary Geography and Cultures, is a World Geography course. The one that you're seeing that comes out in July is a U.S. History or U.S. Geography and Social Studies course. So they're 2 different courses. So there's no changes from what you already bought, Elementary Geography, and the U.S. Geography. That'll be a great course for next year.
Awesome. Over in the app, Danielle said, "Help, please. I have been feeling God's calling to homeschool for several months. This has come as quite a surprise to me, so understandably my husband is thinking I'm a little crazy. I need something to share with my husband to help him understand the value of such a big change. I know you've recommended several books, but honestly, I need something shorter, like an article or short video. I feel like if he watched all your videos, he would be on board, but I don't think I can convince him to watch hours of videos, lol."
All right, let me tell you a funny one I've been saving. So when the Lord calls you to homeschool, and you know it, right? So he shows up and says, you're to homeschool your kids. And your husband says, no, I don't think so. What you do is you tell him the story. Is it Nabal and Abigail? And you say, the Lord came to me, almost like David came to Nabal and said, you need to homeschool. And Nabal said, get out, you're crazy. And Abigail had to save his life, but it didn't work. Don't be a Nabal. What do you think? Is that a good pitch? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, most husbands probably wouldn't appreciate it. Let me tell you what, I've homeschooled with my wife and for over 20 years, and you couldn't convince me that there's a better way to raise our children. You just couldn't. I've seen the fruit of both. I was a principal of a school. I've taught in a private school. We've homeschooled. We've been in ministry. We served the homeschool market. And whether it's socialization, I'd put homeschooled kids, socialized homeschooled kids up against anybody. Spiritually, academically, I don't think you can go wrong. And if you look at culture right now, there is a definite shift in our culture, and Scripture is clear not to place our children under the counsel of the ungodly. And it's clear that the student will become like the teacher. And even though there are good teachers in the public school systems, the overall system, what it's meant to produce, the student that it's meant to produce, is what you have to be careful of. And I think that where we're going as a culture, it's almost like, one of those doors where you get the big movie, I'll go this way, and the door's like shutting like this, and everybody's running to kind of get where they need to be. I think our opportunities are closing, and if the Lord is calling you to it, He will equip and prepare and provide. I'll tell you what, as far as the husbands go, feel free to have him give me a call. I'd be happy to talk with him. Usually,
He's always down for a conversation.
When it comes to homeschooling and husbands, as long as they know that I definitely support the line of homeschooling. I've seen it. We've seen it. We've stood at the grave of families who told us their kids could take it, who said, no, we know what we're doing, and we're going to keep an eye on things. And
they're being salt and light. They're preaching to their peers.
Yeah, we're in the school system. And then 10 years later, 15 years later, we're standing at gravesides mourning with those families, or we're having to console those families through the pain and suffering that their kids are going through because of things that have happened in the school system. And I feel blessed because I'm a goober, but yet the Lord has blessed us with being able to homeschool and seeing the outcome. My kids are so much better than me. And man, you just can't convince me that there's a better way.
That was good.
If that don't work, do the Nabal thing. Don't be a Nabal. Don't be a Nabal.
Emily said that sounds like a dad joke. Your first story.
What's that?
Emily said that your first story sounded like a dad joke.
With don't be a Nabal?
Mm-hmm. And Katie said she likes your cow painting.
Thank you. I do too. I really like that cow painting. It just makes me happy.
Yeah, he swapped it out the other week. What was behind it before? It was like a timer and
yeah, we didn't have much good. That just makes me happy. I just bought 2 more cow paintings for our cabinets.
Amber asks, does Master Books have any foreign language courses or plans to make some? We get this question a lot.
In the future, yeah, we're game for anything. I want a purpose-driven Spanish course, or any language course, but predominantly Spanish I think would be the most value right now. And doing the an applied learning where through the course of a Spanish course they're actually working to take a trip and present the gospel, serve in the mission field, and work their way back home, I think would be awesome.
Johnny 2 in the app said, drop the mic and walk away, LOL, to your previous.
Don't be a navel.
Probably. It was probably to the other advice, but I'm sure that ties into it. Brandy asked.
That's such a good insult for a wife.
Don't be a navel.
Don't be a navel.
Mic drop.
And when he says, what are you talking about? You say, do the math. No, do the research. Do the research. Maybe you could give him a hint where it's found. Old Testament? Don't
do
be a
the
navel.
research. Old Testament? Come on, bro. Brandy.
Don't. Now all these husbands get called navel tonight, and I'll get new calls.
You'll get phone calls.
I'll get calls.
It won't be about homeschooling. It'll be about navel. Brandy asked she said, best piece of advice for first-time homeschooling families, and I see we have a couple that have commented in the app about just starting out with homeschooling this year.
Well, your first year is the hardest. Once you get through your first year, it'll get a lot easier because right now you're unsure. Everybody's trying to figure it out. Don't get tied to anything. Be flexible. If something isn't working, be willing to experiment. Growth hack your way to success, and just relax. Like, you're not going to break them, right? Think about like potty training. You know, we don't always get it right on the first try. But after about 20 tries and a bag of M&Ms later, we're beginning to get it. That's how homeschooling works. $50, whatever.
I paid me to potty train one of my younger siblings, $50.
It worked.
I did 2 of them. Potty trained 2 kids. I'm all ready for motherhood.
$50.
Fortunately, I won't get paid for my own children.
That's when Grandpa will come and
I'll pay you $50 to potty train my kids.
Yeah. For anybody who doesn't know, let me explain this relationship. I'm Randy Pratt. I'm the VP of Sales and Marketing here at New Leaf Publishing Group. This is my daughter, Brittany Pratt. She is the publicist here at Master Books, and she assists me with social media marketing and a lot of our advertising and design work as well. And so we are father and daughter as well as co-worker.
Good that you clarified. Thank you. Mama 3, hello Master Books family, excited for the book club starting June 1st. What do you think the next book might be?
Yeah, that I don't have an answer for because they choose them. The mods choose the books. So maybe if anyone's watching and you have a book idea, the moderators or the admins, you can let them know.
Ava said, I always see that painting and think it's a cow rock band album. And Irina said she thinks you need to feature the cow painting on one of the books.
It's my 3 kids, actually. Yeah. This is my daughter, Carrie. Carrie is actually the author of Foundation Phonics and Adventures in Creation. This is my 3rd oldest, Brandon. He's actually been featured in live. This is my 2nd oldest, my son, Nathan. His hair looked a lot like that for a long time. It doesn't as much anymore, but it used to remind me of it.
Okay, Mama to...
See, cows are fun. Cows are fun. When I got out of college, I had one of those dirty jobs where I artificially inseminated cattle. So for 6 years, I artificially inseminated over 10,000 cows. 15, I think it's almost 15,000 was the number. So that was just kind of my stint in farming. And then I got out and went into marketing.
This has been story time with Randy. Join us next time as we discuss.
Well, there's a history behind the cow painting.
April asks, is the book club in the app? Yes.
Yes.
It just started. It's one of the sections in there now.
Yep.
Jess said, you couldn't pay me enough to do that. I agree. Props to you, because I couldn't have done it.
Got a family to feed.
It's true. Mama to 4 in the app said, I just got done reading the teacher companion for math lessons, and it was such a good insight and wondered if there is a plan for one for language lessons.
Yes. Yep. Kristen is writing the teaching companion right now. She's putting together notes and getting it ready.
Awesome. What age is recommended for Elements of Faith? Is it pre-chemistry or a Bible class? Vicky would like to know.
Junior high to 9th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. So you could give a credit for it. If you did a credit for it, you could do it as a Bible elective, or you could do it as a pre-chemistry. You could do either. I mean, it's solid. It's a solid Bible, and it would be a solid science, like a pre-chemistry, preparing them for the chemistry course. So I would say put it on there the way you want it to appear on a transcript if it's 9th grade. Otherwise, whichever, it's a fantastic morning basket. Foundation Phonics is one of the most awesome courses. I would encourage anybody to go look at the preview of what did I say? Elements of Faith. Did I say Foundation Phonics?
I think you might.
I think I read
I
that.
was reading comments, so I was.
Yeah, go check out Elements of Faith. Even the story about how I answered the phone one night, late at night, when the author called in. He had only written part of the book, and then he called in and got me, and I'm like, man, where's the rest of the book? And he's like, well, I've written it, but I don't know if anyone would want it, type thing. And we were like, yeah, yeah, we want that. So cool.
Awesome. Crystal asked in the Facebook Live, she said, any plans for loose leaf option books in the future? I think I saw her comment. She posted maybe in the app that too.
Yeah, we've considered it back and forth. The problem with loose leaf, it doesn't work as well for everybody. Not everybody uses loose leaf. Not everybody cuts the bindings off. The idea was a solid book that you can just take the answers out of and use. So that's what we try to accomplish. And the loose leaf makes it difficult because then you have to shrink wrap it. And then when you go to conventions, nobody can open it up and look through it because you have 400 or 500 pages falling all over the place. We have machines that can cut the bindings off. There's just no way with the volumes we're doing right now where we could accommodate with binding and without binding. And you also have double SKUs. So if you have 100 SKUs of product and now you're going to add loose leaf, now you have to have double the warehouse space. And so, unfortunately, it just doesn't make things feasible. So.
Okay, April R. asks, is the new state geography book as easy to adapt as everything else? My little boys are so interested in states right now and thought about doing it while they were excited about it. Is that the book you were going through and telling cool facts from during your lives the other week?
It's not. The book that I was going through was Star Spangled State Book. That would be a fun book to go through as well. That was one that we just picked up in a new purchases. But the one that is coming out this summer, which is the U.S. Geography and Social Studies, highly recommend. I think it'd be really easy to plug in.
My 9-year-old daughter will be going into the 4th grade. She's had 1 year of history. Would you recommend starting her off in American History 1 or 2? In her first history class, she studied the discovery of America up to the Civil War. Thank you.
So she's going into...
Would you recommend her starting off in America's I think it's America's Story is what she's asking, 1 or 2.
So she already kind of had the beginning.
She's going into 4th grade.
Okay. Let's see. She could go into 2. I would say America's Story 2, do America's Story 3 she's going into 5th grade? 4th grade. So she'd do America's Story 3 in 5th grade and then start World Story in 6th.
And April R. asks, would that be good for younger kids?
We recommend it for 3rd and up. Oh, which one?
I think America's...
The America's Story?
I think so.
No. April R. is asking for the Star Spangled States.
Thank you for clarifying.
That would be, you could use it with little kids and just do it. I wouldn't focus on memorization and stuff like that, but just, hey, let's pick a state and study it type thing. It's not a real comprehensive book. It's just kind of fun facts about the states.
Erickson family asks, when will the book versions of Mack come out?
That's available.
She might be asking then when the updated versions.
Yeah, the book version is available. The updated version, they'll add a little bit, but that will probably be my guess, late fall. I mean, there's enough of it, and it's a good product. It's sold as is. So I wouldn't count on an update before. It would be later, not before the beginning of the school year.
And Vanderloo asked, will there ever be a Canadian geography or history? I know there's a bunch of people asking about that.
Right now, there isn't one. There is some books that we purchased from Knowledge Quest that on Canadian history that will probably at some point be re-released. But the international homeschool market is growing. And so, there's a lot of things in the future that we can do. But right now, we don't have anything in the works. I'm sorry.
Jessica Linwater, who is also joining us in the app live, asks, she said, so I have a question about your art curriculum. I am planning on ordering it for the upcoming school year for my 13-year-old, 6-year-old, and my youngest, who is almost 4, if she chooses to participate, which I bet she will. Is the art book you have available good for any age, or is it age specific? It's a good question.
The art book that we have available right now, it would be ideal for upper elementary. So we're looking at, we have a studio audience outside our windows.
Walking past the window.
It would be ideal for 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. Could you adapt it? 100% yes. It would be great for, I think, a junior high student who maybe doesn't have a strong interest in art, but it would be a good introduction to art. You could certainly tailor it that way. Maybe even high school, use it as just a good introduction to some art projects. Certainly is as comprehensive as what I took in school for art. So that's my answer.
Good job.
Thank you. I'm going to stick to that answer.
You're welcome. Any changes to high school curriculum before I purchase?
The American history is a change that if they're going to be doing that, so that'd be 9th grade, you may want to wait. That should be coming out within the next month or so. Other than that, we're adding an Algebra 2 and a physics, masterclass physics, which would both be, they'd both be 11th grade courses. Outside of that, I don't think so.
Gloth55 in the app asks, can levels be combined for the same child? Just finished public school kindergarten and test at level 2 for math, but I believe everything else should be 1st grade level. Yeah,
Master Books is a skill-based series more than it is a grade-based series. So the grades are recommendations or starting points, but then we encourage parents to adapt it to the skills of their student. One thing that I might say is if she's ready to go into level 2 math, if she's like loving math and ready to go, no problem. If it's a little bit shaky, might not hurt to just go level 1 math, but do it at an accelerated rate and combine the 2 levels of math in 1 year, just to help build the confidence, make sure that the learning gaps are covered, let her really experience the win and the stories of the math program. And we're only talking about, like $30 to have both $30 more to have both of the math.
Awesome. Irina, who I believe is also joining us in the app as well live, she said, what changes will be made in Master Books format of the Star Spangled State book? I plan on using it with Passport to America.
That will, most likely there would be a parent lesson plan in the beginning, your daily lessons, and then the teacher guide. Now there is a downloadable, like 200 and some page teacher guide that goes with it now. So when you buy the book, you can have the download free. And we actually just went through the marketing team and Kristen and made some edits and some changes to some things that, Master Books friendly aren't there. Like if it said Ghost Town, but it had a picture of a creepy ghost, we removed the picture of the ghost and just did it that way. There were some other things that wouldn't have quite met our criteria that we changed. So
we want to produce Sharpie-free curriculum. You don't need a Sharpie for our curriculum.
Yeah, because a lot of your education was done with
Sharpies.
I wonder why these 2 pages are glued together.
This one time, the first time I remember the pages being glued together, I'm like working through my book and the pages were like wrinkled, like they were kind of wet, and I was like, oh no, where did I leave my book that I like ruined the pages and now they're stuck together, and as I'm pulling them apart, they're getting ripped. I'm like, I'm in so much trouble. And so I was like, I finally like went up to my mom and was like, Mom, I think I ruined the pages of my book. They're not coming apart. She's like, oh, no, I glued them. I was like, good. A Crowder, she said, more than words 3. Do we have an ETA yet?
I haven't gotten a word yet on that being released, and it's not in the catalog. As an alternative, I would say look at Elements of Faith, really strong junior high course that would fit really well after the after More Than Words 2. Look at the Elements of Faith, because that would be a really strong Bible curriculum.
Awesome. Jamie Birchwood asked, why didn't I know about Master Books earlier?
That's a really good question. Do you have good friends? Is it Jamie? Jamie, do you have good friends? Do you have a solid circle of people?
I guess not so recently.
Maybe, yeah. Was it a friend that introduced you to Master Books? That's what I would want to know. Mm-hmm. And are you being a good friend? Are you also now going back and telling your circle? If we're the average of the 5 people we're around, and nobody has enlightened you to Master Books, I'd be a little concerned about some of your circle group there.
Trying to take an inventory of your friends, make sure they're all
ask them,
good and building you up and helping you grow. And
yeah, but don't you know, now you can turn and raise the bar with your homeschooling friends. And you know what's funny is they're predicting a 500% growth in homeschooling. We are like, let me just say, if you've got curriculum to order, I would go safe and order a little bit earlier this year. Like event inventory, we're working hard to keep on top of books and printers, but a lot has changed in the world due to the virus. So print companies, some of them have shut down, and we have some pretty solid relationships with our printers. But I wouldn't wait until the last minute to order homeschool curriculum this year, because we're already seeing volumes that are like our busy season last year of new families getting into homeschooling. Our resellers are placing huge orders. And so we had predictions for how much inventory would be needed, but now it looks like the homeschool market is about to blow up. And if you're just kind of waiting for the right moment, I don't know that there's any huge changes that are coming in curriculum, except, if there's something to be released. But you may not want to wait too long this year. Our busy season is typically July 15th. I say usually, July 15th to September 15th. That's when almost like half to 2/3 of all the books get ordered. And we're already in a place where the orders are just insane, which is an awesome thing, and we're excited about it. But just let me tell you, it probably didn't sound good to say, do you have good friends? Jess just pointed that out, and I gotta...
No, she gave you a trophy for it.
I know, but...
I think that was a good answer.
Okay.
I think okay. We're good.
We're okay?
I mean, it's always good to take an inventory of your friends.
Kristen always says, the views and opinions that are spoken by Randy do not represent me. That's her statement.
Also good.
Yeah, I'll never forget coming out of church one Sunday after preaching. I said, I am so sorry if I embarrassed you. And she said, you couldn't possibly embarrass me more than you already have. All right.
Okay, jumping. That was all of the questions from the post on the app from earlier.
All right.
Jumping into Facebook, Nancy asks, does Master Books have books about parenting teenagers, young adults, or special needs?
We have 2. Raising Them Up, Israel Wayne's new book, be a great book on parenting. Another one that I would encourage was Reset for Parents by Todd Friel. Todd was probably one of the first speakers that I heard. He said, hey, I just want to let you know that little Johnny that you're struggling with, he's a little sinner just like you. And it dawned on me that, it's not, I'm God and my kids are here. It's God is here and I am here and they're sinful just like me. And we will work together to grow in our relationship to Creator God through Jesus Christ. And I think that mindset as a parent is really valuable to have, because now, I don't have to be like, you will respect me because I am the parent. It's a different approach. And I think it really changed my parenting, just that little paradigm shift to think, she's a little sinner just like her mom. And I can be much more accommodating.
Is Born Broken a special needs one?
Born Broken is a special needs one. Yes, Born Broken is, Born Broken is about a family that has
10, more
12,
than that. 12?
I think they have like 12 adopted children, and one of their children has FAS. We have a child that's adopted with FAS, so we understood that journey really well. The premise of Born Broken is, it's a twist. As you read through the story, you realize we're all broken, and it's this that happens in our relationships, and this that happens, and it's the only hope that we have is the hope of Jesus Christ. And sometimes when we deal with special needs and spectrums and things like that, it brings out in us the things that are broken as well. And so it tells their testimony. And if you've ever been a foster parent or part of that environment where you deal with reactive attachment disorders, fetal alcohol syndromes, some of the things that are on spectrum, you kind of understand the heart behind what the family went through, and what the message is for this mom as she went through it.
Yeah, Apollonia said, I didn't hear my questions answered. That's over in the app. Apollonia, I'm reading through the original post, and then I'm going to do the Facebook one, and then I'm going to jump back through the live stream, and I think I saw your question come up, so I will get back to that one. Lancia asked, will you be doing audiobooks for your history and science?
We are doing video courses. So at Master Books Academy,
cool.
They will be part of the course where I believe what you'll see is the book page and the author in a bubble reading to the student. So the student will be able to read along with the author. I love the Master Books Academy app, the way that you can get around. And I'm working with Carrie Bailey right now to do Simply K. Mm-hmm. And it sounds funny, but Simply K, kindergarten is probably one of the most intense homeschooling experiences. And she's doing such a good job of creating a course that helps mom and then helps student. So just kind of a guide and mentor walking through Simply K. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit different with the younger grades, because some of it's like it's a lot of hands-on work, versus the older grades where you can just be like, here, watch this video and work through it.
And then do the course, yeah. Yep.
She's awesome. Laura asked, can we get something like musical multiplication?
I'm going to refer back to the math question that I had, that we're working to continue to expand and grow the course. And right now, Angela has to do the Practice Makes Perfect packs and then the Master Books Academy classes for all 6 levels. So Angela's probably going to be busy for a couple of years.
I don't think I asked this question. Alicia asked, how does the history sequence for elementary, once put into bundles, compare to Story of the World? So that's probably, I'm assuming, elementary would be My Story and America's Story.
No. Story of the World would be more your the world story, 6th, 7th, and 8th. So our sequence would be My Story 1, My Story 2, America's Story 1, 2, and 3, and then World Story 1, 2, and 3, finishing that in 8th grade. We have alternative courses. We have You Report, Elementary World History, which is a bird's eye view of world history in a very fun and engaging way. The author is an incredible author, a friend of mine. You missed that whole thing.
I'm sorry, I'm reading comments. What did you say? I need to know now.
You Report, Elementary World History. It was written by a very fun and engaging author. He's a great author. He's a friend of mine. Do you get it?
I get it. He's the author, guys. He's the author.
I'm my own best friend. So that's a really good course. So there are some alternatives that you can plug in as well.
Okay, so next question is, Gabriella asked, my daughter is doing level 1. We take a long break in the winter and work through summer. She is struggling with endurance of the whole level 1 curriculum. Any advice on how to better ease into things?
Yeah, I would, if you have to cut back on the essentials, do math, do language, and then slowly work in, maybe you do just do read alouds on the history. Don't require a ton on those. Chances are she's still developing, so don't push too hard. Just kind of, you don't want her to get resentful or defeated. So just kind of focus on those development, imaginative play, and then practicing motor skills and those types of things.
Libby said, we're laughing with you, Randy, and then people are putting in laughy faces. And
thank you,
Tony
everybody
said,
who's
more
laughing.
Randy jokes to come.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate. I
Our
had to
family
repeat.
has.
If you have to repeat the joke, it isn't funny.
Our family has this game where we all have these jokes that we'll say, and we'll all hype each other up and laugh about it. But the game is, whenever he says something funny, we blank face and don't acknowledge
Their jokes
his
are the dumbest things.
So we don't acknowledge his jokes. We're just seriously? And the look of defeat on his face, I'm crying right now. It's really not that funny, but it is really funny because he's like, you guys' jokes aren't even that funny. You don't laugh at my joke.
No, I say, I gotta run to the store. Oh, do you want the keys? It'd be easier to take the car. I've heard that so many times. I gotta jump in the shower. Be careful, it can be slippery. I mean, those are the dumbest things in the world, right? And then mine will be write it down, because who's that comedian? He wants to use it in his act. And I lost his name. Anyways.
But yeah, we're just okay.
Yeah, and
later on we laugh about it.
They do it to my daughter-in-law too. She tells these really funny jokes, and they're funny, and everyone's just
so funny. But
serious? What?
It's funnier to watch their reactions as their jokes flop. It's really cruel.
It is
honestly,
cruel.
as I'm saying it out loud, but it's really funny.
I hope you feel the weight of conviction.
I don't. I'm literally crying right now. Irina said a phone call interrupted the live stream. I'm so glad I can watch the replays later on. Yes. We also got to your question earlier, so you might have missed that.
Yep.
Okay, back to it. Andrea said, do we need to add in a reading program to teach an early elementary child to read, or will language lessons cover what is needed to read fluently?
Yeah, so we recommend beginning to teach reading in grade 1, and we recommend starting with Foundations Phonics. And that is semester 1, the first half of the year, and then you move from Foundation Phonics into Language Lessons 1. That would be the Teach Your Child to Read program. And I know over the weekend we talked to Carrie Bailey. She's going to come in and talk with us about Foundation Phonics and the method it uses to teach, and just give some good insights on that. So hopefully this week, I'm thinking even Thursday if I can work it out, that I'll have her on for that.
Emily said, my son is going into grade 5. Does he need to do both language lessons 5 and writing strands beginning 1?
Only if you don't like him. No, okay, I better change that, because some people actually are doing that. I would pick one or the other. I would pick some.
That was a bad answer.
Some poor child just looked at their mom and said, "You don't like me." That's not true. That's not true. She does like you.
100% kidding.
Yes. They're meant to be independent courses, so I would just go language lessons or writing strands. If you do both, maybe if the child enjoys writing, but I don't think you need to do both. I think that there's enough meat in each of them to stand alone.
Last one on the post from earlier, Dawn said, I have a 4th grader, 1st grader, and I like to do their science together. We are switching from Abeka, and I'm wondering what you might recommend. We are in grade 4 for Abeka Science. So
I would do, I would go into the God's Design and pick the course that pick Heaven and Earth, or it's going to be more specific. What you're going to see is very much like what you would do in high school: life science, astronomy, or earth science, chemistry and ecology, and I don't know, the physics would be the next one. So I would just pick one of the 4, and it's designed where you can actually do multi-age from 3rd grade to 8th grade together.
Kim said, I missed the live stream from Thursday. Will it be uploaded to YouTube soon? Should be.
Yeah, should be. Yeah.
Keep
I
an
know
eye
she
out.
has
Stay
the file.
tuned.
I sent her the file.
Stay tuned. Apollonia said, how do I find out about the Academy?
Go to masterbooksacademy.com, and there's also we did a video on it. Should be a video on YouTube on Master Books Academy as well.
Apollonia said, should I allow my special needs son to start 2nd grade even though he doesn't remember some of it? He's autistic, as I don't know how to pronounce that.
Aphasia.
Aphasia.
I
And
would.
several other problems.
I would. Just don't require. Listen, at those ages, you're just acquainting them to it. It's just like, okay, we open the door, we walk out, and we look, and I say, oh, there's a tree, and there's grass, and there's the sky. Okay, so I give them an awareness of the big picture. I don't need them to tell me in 2nd grade what type of tree that is. It might be nice if they remember it, but they don't need to. They just need to know, oh, there's a tree, there's grass. That's cool. There's the sky, there's water. And then I can build on that. As you go through education, it's kind of like, here's a general awareness. Then we begin narrowing in and learning more details about the general. So there's a tree, wow. Then I learn, oh, here's how a tree grows, and here's what tree rings are, and here's the different types of trees, and here's the seeds, and all of that. Then I go to, maybe I even go to a horticulture school where I learn how to graft the trees together and become an agricultural farmer and all of those things. And so I become much more niche as my education grows. Let me ask you a question. This is an important question for you as Christians. What days were trees created? And can you tell me why that's such an important question as a young earth creation family?
What?
Do you know?
Yes. Because the way he did it would mean, because he created plants first and then sunlight. Is this the right direction? Okay. And so that means that it would have had to have been a literal 6-day creation. Yeah,
so he created the trees and the seed, the plants in the field on day 3. But if you read scripture, it says it was morning, evening, day 3. Then he created the sun and the stars. Well, he created the sun and the moon, and the stars also, on day 4. So for anybody who says, well, I believe the Lord could have taken millions of years for each of these times, and he could have guided evolution through the Big Bang process, because that's the way he probably did it, because that's what science tells us, we can say, interesting, but if you take the narrative from scripture, that would mean that the trees and the seeds of the field, which require sunlight to grow, weren't created for thousands or millions of years until after they were here. If you plants don't have sunlight, that's kind of a messy thing. So the problem with that theory when you try to put it into scripture is now you have to rearrange scripture. Just a good point.
Yes. I got so excited I lost my question. Misty said, my family and I are new to the whole Bible learning. My kids will be in grades K, 1st and 12th. I always talk openly about God to my kids, but where and what books would you recommend? Morning baskets. Morning baskets are great. Yeah, the 10-minute Bible journey. Any of the books, like What Really Happened, Dinosaurs of Eden would be a great book. Anything that we have would be just great ways to kind of reinforce. We have, long before we were doing curriculum, we've been over 45 years now. We're celebrating 45 years in business at New Leaf Publishing Group and Master Books. And we were doing Christian apologetics for a lot of years. And so we just have a lot of great books that are not curriculum that fit well. We try to put them in our flash sales so you guys can build an affordable library to have access to. So sometimes you can just get good morning basket books for really affordably in a Tuesday morning or Tuesday flash sale. Freddie said, I have been having such a struggle. We have been homeschooling for 6 years, but this coming year I will be going into it as a single mom, as my husband is in naval. I have to go to work, so I'm slightly considering putting my kids in the public school system. My heart is literally breaking. Any advice or encouragement?
Okay, so there are seasons, and this is one of those seasons. And I think it's important to define priority, which is the raising and training and discipling of your children first. Then you need to look for tools that will help you do that, and the resources that help you do that, and adjust. Maybe you don't do as much, or maybe you work with somebody else who can just guide. Like, part of the beauty of Master Books Curriculum in the older levels is they can work independently. And we don't always score every day. Sometimes we score weekly or monthly, the way we do it. So you adjust to what you're going through in life. And if this is one of those seasons, and you also, I've done teaching tips on this a lot, but the success of the family depends on everybody working together. And so you need to sit down sometimes with the family and explain, listen, if we're going to survive this, it's everybody doing it together. I can't be the brain power of this whole family. So you guys are going to have to pitch in. We're going to have to do chores. You're going to have to work at your schoolwork, because this is a season we're going through. It's kind of like if we were in a ship and we're sailing, there's beautiful weather, it's nice, we enjoy the sun, the breeze. Then all of a sudden a storm comes. Everybody pitches in to get the ship ready to endure the storm. That's where you are. You're at the verge of this time, and those seasons make you stronger. We rarely ever grow in a good season. We grow in the hard seasons. We grow in the storms. You become a better sailor in a storm than you ever will during perfect conditions. And it's the rough conditions that make us who we are. And so for us as a family, it's what's made us better is the fact that we did it through ministry. We did it through heartache. We did it through special needs. We've done it through cancer. Kristen has. Those things that make us stronger and more able to help others. Scripture says we encounter the sufferings of Christ so that we may comfort others. And I think that's how we understand how to be helpful to others. So even though this is a difficult season, this is an opportunity for growth. And the words that I said right when we went into the cancer season was, this will serve you. And I believe that it will. And so I would give that to you as well in this season. This will serve you, and your family can become stronger out of this instead of being defeated by it.
Awesome. That's good advice. Ova said, any advice for homeschooling with newborns or small children in the home?
Yeah, same. This is a season. It doesn't last forever. And you've got to survive those seasons. Kristen and I have always said we're lousy baby parents. Like, we have 9 kids, and our first year of parenting, or even 2, is just a train wreck. And that's why we kept trying, hoping we could figure it out. Not really.
I'm sorry, I'm reading comments. I'm not ignoring your jokes on purpose this time. What did you say?
That's why we kept having babies, to see if we could get it right.
Oh. Fine. You lost the golden child. It's always the youngest.
But it's tough. It's tough. Babies are tough. And so, but you can homeschool. Kristen homeschooled with me on the road. I was traveling and gone 120 days a year on the road, and she was homeschooling with babies. She grew a business with me traveling and homeschooling. She started a business and grew it. And it doesn't mean that every day was perfect, but it did make us who we are. So you can do this. You got it.
Tabby said, I bought the grade 1 pack, but my son is already reading. Do you think foundation phonics would be beneficial or necessary? He is my 4th child.
I don't know that it would be necessary if he's already reading. You could use it as a morning basket and just read through the stories kind of as a review, and just do a review like that, and then start, go into language lessons 1.
Yeah. How soon could we expect practice makes perfect for other grades?
We're working on them as hard as we can. I mean, we want to get them out as fast and as hard as we can. So between this year and next year, all of them should be out.
Vicky said recommendations for 6th grade science. We have done zoology and soil, sun, and sky.
6-year science?
6th grade science. What would you suggest?
Did zoology, sea, soil, and sky.
Yes, sir.
What's the awesome one? The awesome science DVDs with the parks?
That's what it's called.
Awesome science? Okay. That one,
I
that would be
think
one.
so.
The God's Design courses are strong. Yeah.
I'm trying to find the Facebook live stream to get the comments, but I don't see it, so I'm gonna have to scroll. I'm gonna go back through. We've had a lot of comments, a lot of questions. Are right brain flashcards introduced in Math Level 1? Currently doing Math K and wanting to know whether or not I should add them to my next order.
I think addition is something that you begin working on. So I think 1 and 2. If somebody knows offhand, I don't. If they're in there as a recommendation, I thought they start working on the addition tables and the brain cards in level 1.
The brain cards.
The brainy cards.
The brainy cards. Ashley yelled. You can tell she's yelling. It's all caps. I'm so excited to be starting with Master Books this year with a bunch of exclamation points and a red heart and a blue heart. Woohoo!
Well, Ashley, we're excited that you're starting with Master Books this year. Yeah. Master Books. When you get Master Books, you really get Master Books, right? Not everybody does. And that's okay, because one size doesn't fit all. And we encourage families, if Master Books doesn't work for you, hey, we bless you. Keep moving. The beauty of what I've seen with Master Books is the process, the system was birthed out of a lot of years of homeschooling. So it's just common sense homeschooling. And what I love is we know it works because it's what, you know, after a lot of years of homeschooling and multiple kids and multiple intelligences and everything else, you kind of settle into, it doesn't matter what curriculum you use, if it's one that's too much, you hack it to pieces and cut it down, or if it's one that's not enough, you kind of beef it up, and so you kind of develop this flow no matter what. Master Books is really the flow already created, and it's just common sense. And then as I go to do the science and study the science behind it, it's like, wow, man, it's just like, it fits what we're seeing from countries that are far more progressive than the United States in education, because it works.
Yeah. And Ariel said, yes, you start creating right brain flashcards in Math Level 1.
Awesome, thank you.
Heather asked, any recommendations for art for my 10th grader who loves to draw freehand and is quite good at it? Also, Tony McDonald asked, do you plan to offer an art supply kit for living art lessons?
Probably not, Tony, on the art supply kit, because in my former life, trying to sell kits is difficult. Former life in marketing, career life. Yeah, kits are hard because you can just go to your local, what was the big box store in VeggieTales? Madam Blueberry Stuff Mart. You can go to your local Stuff Mart and get them for much cheaper.
Stuff Mart. That doesn't exist anymore though, because that was our treehouse. Never mind. My bad. Messed up my VeggieTales. 10th grade art.
10th grade art. Right now we don't have anything on the schedule to accommodate that. So.
Angela said, we are doing world history and have briefly touched on American history. Where should I start my junior high students in American history?
You could do a couple things. You could condense them. You could do America's story in a condensed, like do all 3 years over a 2-year period or a 1-year period, or you can just wait until 9th grade and start an American history in 9th grade.
Tabitha said, new to homeschooling and Master Books, what is the best way to find out what level of math my 5th grader will need?
Placement test. If you go to the landing page for Math Lessons for a Living Education, take the placement test. The placement test is a readiness test. So when they pass, it says they're ready to move into that level.
Are there discounts if we buy 6 to 10 copies of a book?
Now we already offer, it's like 20 to 30% off depending on how you purchase, and free shipping for orders over 75 in the contiguous US. So those are really great discounts.
Sadie asked, when will the new science for elementary 2nd grade coming out? We got our curriculum and my kids love it and wants to start. I'm thinking that's the God's Design Heaven and Earth, no?
Well, there's two. God's Design for Heaven and
Adventures
Earth
in
is coming out, and
Creation.
Adventures in Physical World is coming out. So that should be available in July.
Kim said, we studied U.S. Geography this year with our 8-year-old. She's excited to know you're coming out with a U.S. Geography course and has asked to use it for 5th or 6th grade. She says she loves learning about the United States, and we love Master Books. I finally got to see your survey of astronomy in person. My senior will be using it when school starts again in the fall. Super excited.
Awesome. Good feedback.
Carrie said, can you tell us the difference between the upcoming U.S. States course and the state notebook currently available on the website?
The state notebook, is that the Star Spangled Banner state notebook?
I don't know.
The new U.S. Geography and Social Studies is a much more robust course. If it's just like Elementary Geography and Culture, is written by the same author, and I think will be more engaging.
Brittany said, is anything changing for 5th and 2nd grade? This will be our first year with Master Books. Yay!
Well, not really. Let's see, changing the one thing. Let's see, the one thing that would be changing, Adventures in the Physical World, is part of the set in grade 2. Not sure if that's in that set. In 5th grade, it really depends on what you choose. If you follow the package set, or you add in the geography, U.S. Geography, or the World Geography.
April said, in the courses we have completed, there is a course overview of items learned at the end of the course. I do appreciate that, but I'd like to have an actual post-course test to give my kids next year. I plan to make one for each course, but I'd rather not reinvent the wheel if there is a resource already available, like what I'm looking for. I hope this question makes sense.
If you're referring to like the math lessons for living education, some people use the review as a test. Practice Makes Perfect packs will actually have a test built into them.
Katie said, is there a release date for Algebra 2?
Yeah, August, September, one of those dates. I mean, it should be August is what we're targeting for. Design is working hard on it.
Gloria's asked, do you have any special or specific supplement material to help an autistic child with executive functioning skills?
We don't. Here's the deal, right? Autism is a spectrum, and so it's really hard to have. It's kind of like every child is a unique target, and as a parent with special needs, we have to growth hack and use. It's kind of like, if I'm building something, sometimes I find a tool and I tweak the way I use the tool a little bit because it works. And that's, we don't have a one size fits all for special needs because it's a moving target. There's no way to create, all curriculum is kind of created with an average in mind, with the expectation that you tailor it and place the student in the best place.
Tony, referring back to your previous answer, she said, okay, thanks. I'm just not liking what my Stuff Mart has right now. You want to do like 3 more questions? It's been an hour. What?
No, my Stuff Mart experience wasn't that great either. So I'm just, we have these things in our brains in marketing. I'm going to go off on a tangent. You got these things in your brain, right? So when you say something, it takes your brain into a certain spot. Well, when you have an audience and you say something like Stuff Mart, and because of where we are, just the word Mart is enough to make my brain go into a bad place in the moment. So I said that. It was supposed to be a funny VeggieTales twist. Instead, it took her into the bad brain place. So now she's in a bad brain place. Then she said, I'm not liking my Stuff Mart, which then caught my bad brain place and reminded me of my weekend experience.
And now
now we're all in a bad brain place.
Bad brain, great. Well,
think of tulips. Daisies.
Yeah, think of tulips and daisies.
Master Books
Find your
catalog
happy
is going
place.
to the printer to send out, so that's a good.
What is?
Master Books catalog,
Ooh.
the homeschool catalog. Yeah.
The Master Books and action shots that are in there. Pretty cool.
Master Books and action shots are awesome. Yep.
Found our happy place. Okay, 3 more questions.
Okay.
You want to do 3
Let's
more?
do it.
Is there a Canadian retailer for Master Books?
Yes.
Natasha would like to know.
Yes, Canadian Home Education Resources, Learning House, Heritage Resources are 3 that I know of right off the hand, and they do carry a lot of Master Books products.
Ashley asked, do you think Adventures in Creation would be too easy for a 3rd grader? Her brother is going into 1st and wanted to do that at the same time.
No, I don't. Because there's experiments, kind of hands-on experiments, so you could actually like print off a lab sheet. If there's one, I think there's a lab sheet in the cumulative records pack that you could do, and so have her start creating labs and do lab sheets, the scientific method, while she's doing the experiments. But we have had families who've done Adventures in Creation up to 4th grade.
Awesome. And last but not least, Dodie asked, could my son skip Math Lessons for Living Education 6 and go into Principles of Mathematics 1?
Principles of Mathematics 1 was originally deemed for advanced 6th graders or standard 7th graders. So my question would be, what do you think you're gaining from doing that? So if you do 6 in the language in Math Lessons for Living Education, that's pretty solid transition from Math Lessons for Living Education into the Principles of Math. And then you did the Principles of Mathematics, which also combines worldview, does an exceptional job of that. Principles of Math 1 and 2 combined are a pre-algebra course, which prepares a student to move into algebra in grade 9, which would be your standard algebra, geometry, algebra 2, and then higher level math or business math. So I guess it would just be, what, in light of that, do you want them to be a year ahead and do algebra in 8th grade and start earning credit and graduate early? Just what do you think you would gain, but you could, if he's good at math? That's it?
Yep.
All right, we ended in an hour.